the Edijester. How are we doing, good people? Cass is here. Ha ha! So, the usual suspects, Dennis and, and Kelly J. Keane, transgender trends, sex matters. Everybody's going to have something to say about this, and rightly so, because we've been waiting for this important moment for a very long time indeed. And Cass has provided us with something that's going to be very helpful, I think. Go and have a look. Links in the doobries to the report. 388 pages, or however long it is. I can't remember. Right? So go and have a look in the doobries. What do you think of the new shirt? Nice, isn't it? However, the man who initiated the report is called Sajid Javid. Hey? From the Tory, isn't it? Hey? Sajid Javid. So I'm going to just simply let him say what he needs to say because he was the one that started the report in the first place. So I've got this article from the Times with the old share token. It's in the links, right, in the doobries, so you can do it. Or buy a cup of coffee. Come and be a warrior teacher. We're going to need you more than ever now because the fight is about to intensify in the education arena. If you want to be a warrior teacher, you don't have to be a teacher. But if you want to be, come and join us in May. This has never been more important. Sajid Javid, NHS let gender ideology replace children's best interest. Bang. Former Health Secretary praises findings of the Cass report and calls on all political parties to work together to close puberty blockers loophole. Boom. Hey, Labour. Boom. Yeah. We'll see what they do. When I was briefed, says Sajid, on the NHS's Tavistock Gender Identity Development Service, GIDS for short, for the first time, I knew this was not just another policy area, but a child protection issue and a huge medical scandal in the making. As Secretary of State for Health and Social Care at the time, I instructed officials to provide all available support to Dr. Hilary Cass, the chair of the independent review into GIDS. I introduced legislation to support her investigation and months later backed the recommendations of the interim report. One of the most damning things about this report, is that the adult services refused to play ball. No, we think that they're ideologically, they go the other way than we do. So the NHS is ideologically captured. The adult service needs to close. It's just insane. He says of Cass, she has demonstrated exceptional courage throughout, and today her final report is published. Whilst the findings are not surprising, they are no less sickening. Quite simply, ideology replaced the best interest of children, thousands of whom have now been failed in this modern day scandal. There you are, black and white. At every opportunity, and in each department I served in, I tried to advance the cause of child protection. In this case, the source of lessons lies within both the clinical practice and political culture, which enabled it to persist for so long. Unless each is resolved, more children will be harmed. So he's saying this. Cass is doing one bit, he thinks there's another bit to do. In any other setting, it is hard to imagine a patient meeting a doctor and the patient telling them what their diagnosis is. Yet the approach of self-diagnosis was the medical pathway adopted at GIDS. This resulted in clinicians not showing enough interest in other potential factors, including trauma, social influence, sexual abuse, or different conditions. Take the example of autism, which we know about 2% of children in the UK are thought to have. GIDS, in the review, found that 35% had moderate or severe autistic traits when they began the trans ideation phase. Compounding this was the widespread prescription of puberty blockers. Thankfully, that practice in the NHS is changing, but huge loopholes remain. In the system, both private clinics and prescriptions ordered from abroad remain significant problems. In the case of prescriptions, someone could simply order them online to any pharmacy in the country. The government must close this loophole without delay, but this is the only one area, and many more exist. Despite the specific data legislation I brought forward at Dr. Cass's request, part of the NHS continue to block access and frustrate the express will of Parliament. This is the civil service behaving as if we don't own them. This is them saying, yeah, the people don't know what they're talking about, we'll do our own thing. Activists within the civil services, we see activists within companies. The common thread between all of this is an extreme gender ideology. There's no such thing as an extreme gender ideology, Savage. It's just gender ideology. It's gender ideology which enables them to persist. Across political parties, we need to reassess how effective the commitment is to protecting children and keeping this militant gender lobby at bay. Otherwise, this review will be wasted. Only the courage of whistleblowers and activists on this issue were able to provide the beginning of much needed accountability. Without political support, advocates of existing system will continue to dominate, as they have in other countries. The same theme of being afraid to tackle uncomfortable issues has existed in other areas before, to the detriment of children. He's alluding there, of course, to investigations into things like child abuse and trafficking. Whether it is race, sex, gender or other identity characteristics, there's no such thing as a gender identity characteristic, Sajid. Politicians cannot let the culture of silence prevail because of political sensitivities. As the introduction of the hate crime law in Scotland demonstrates, the consequences of compliance now risks people being forcibly silenced. Could it be clearer, folks? Do you need anything clearer? At the same time, the natural political instinct of some, including some in my party, will need to be tempered. The debate always risks descending into one where far more heat than light is offered, and one where serious policy recommendations fall by the wayside in favour of stronger words of condemnation. That is why the NHS process was so important. It had the time and power to consider these issues and recommend meaningful change. In changing society, where many more of these challenges will arise, only substantive processes and firm decisions will effectively manage these complex matters. I experienced firsthand that making policy in this area will never be straightforward. But as a father of 4, I know how important securing a positive future on these issues is. All of us will have to navigate a changing society, but as this report today makes clear, never again should that come at the expense of our children. Well said, Sajid. This is a safeguarding scandal. We need to get it. The schools need to get their head around this. The second a child mentions gender identity and says that they think they're the wrong sex, that's the second that you go, that's it, it's a safeguarding red flag, get the parents in. No social transition, none, should be taking place for a child in school. Not one. If they want to dress up outside of school because their parents said they could, let them do it. It's the parents that are doing the damage. And believe me, it'll be the parents that have done the damage that will never admit what they've done to their children. Never. It's horrific. Imagine living with that. Imagine living with that. It's absolutely horrific. For God, repeal the damn GRA. Change the Equality Act. Let's end this now and get these gusset gropers out. These nonsense men causing all this trouble which they've done since 1979. Back when, John Hopkins stopped the whole damn thing because they knew what they were bloody well playing with. Beaumont Society, Dr. John Money, Kinsey, SPAC, Hirschfield, you name it. These men. And then we have to deal with the women pushing it, the ones in HR, the ones in education, the middle manager bureaucrats, the shabbily quaffing 4x4 driver. These women who seem to have nothing better to do than to push these perverse ideas and to facilitate transing the gay away and the medical sterilisation and mutilation of children. And still they're going to deny it. They've already started. There's a couple of those. Eddie Gormless one, or whatever his name is, he's already started. Yeah, cope. Let's hope this does what Sajid Javid says it's going to do, because I seriously doubt, and I imagine you do too, that these people are going to stop until they are stopped. They aren't going to stop because you ask them to. We need mass firings, we need people ejected from their positions, and it needs to be public, noisy and embarrassing. That's how we start. And then, of course, I want world peace and love for everyone. Go away. Lots to read. There'll be loads of people saying stuff. I'm going to go and gesture about the other thing. I bought a hat as well. No, you can't say it. I have a jester hat. Should I wear my jester hat? You tell me in the comments. I'll see you guys later. Become a warrior teacher, buy coffee. The usual stuff. Goodbye.